is executed. So from within the container we get all this data. So generally when we have to identify the processing steps and the relevant values that the system uses, then we can go to the loop, relevant loop, and see the figures. Now let's uh, come back to this the main workflow. So this is the second step. Let's approve this. Let's go to the second step, and after refresh, so now the system moves to the next step. And so what is this step? This is the main workflow. Now the step number, the processing of these two branches, they are approved, and after this now we are back into the step number 30, which is where the handling of the results from the two branches happens. So now at this step again we can jump to the workflow log, and from within the workflow log we can, now we see the two steps are completed, and the step the workflow ID with 64 number, and from here we can go to related services, to the technical log, and again we can then identify the various looping conditions. So loop 1, loop 2. So again for loop 2 we can further see the values, check if the single agent group processing, check if single or multiple processing. So again, if I want to check a particular step within a workflow, then here again I can see the values. Now so these are the, so all the entries from the change request header, from the staging tables with reference to the change request number, it gets picked up by the system. Now let's complete this. Let's try and see. So back into this, I will refresh this screen and approve this. So this is after the processing of the step number. So again say refresh. So changes to be executed. Now this is the final activation step, and so now we are at step number 90 after the processing of the parallel change request. And then if we press this activate button, so what happened? The system first created the parallel workflow, then the system identified the merge point where the workflow gets merged, and so because the system is able to process the merge point, so we are able to move to the next step. So here the system is now doing the activation of so we will say refresh, changes to be executed. So now let's say this moves to the next step of the final processing, which is the activate step. I think there are certain validations that needs to happen at this point. So changes can be executed. So these validations are coming probably from the other baddie rules, which other BRF rules, or the DQM rule. So let me put some values. So it says the division must be set. So let's say the division value 0 0, and let me do a check. I think remember that checkbox, that all the validation will happen, system will allow us to process, but at some point in the workflow process the system will execute all the validations, and this is the activation. So I can say test material for parallel workflow. So again I'll check this. Okay, so our main part for this was to understand whether the system is able to process the field unit of weight as defined. It does not contain. So maybe there is some other validation which is in place. So unit of weight. So let me go to the edit mode. Let's see. So net weight, let's say kg, and say kilogram, gross weight kilogram. Let me check this. So these are all the validations, BRF validations, and because we are in the activation step, so prior to this step the system allowed us to get into the process, but after this, at the step number 90, all the validations which are built in the workflow in the process should be followed. So let's see if the system has any other so what we did, we made those entries, and finally we are able to process the change request 832, final check approved. Now we can go to the workflow log. We will see the various looping conditions. So this object is now completely processed, and this complete processing, then with this status we can again go back, we can again go to the list of technical changes, and we can see all the loops. So for example, at loop number 3, check if the workflow is completed, check if single or parallel processing, and these are the different background or the user defined loops. Similarly, if I go to loop number 5, and in loop number 5 again, check if there is a assigned agent. So let me, if I click here, then agent and root finder, so I can click on this, and then I can go to the container, and within the container I can then see the list of values. So for example, you have so the action, the step number 91, the CR type, the CR status, the next step, then in fact this is also one of the ways to identify the change request type, right? So the creator, the user ID which process this change request, so we get this within the container. We can verify the correctness of the values. So when we have to perform a unit testing for checking the various conditions which are either maintained as part of the BADI implementation or the changes that we have done into the table, decision table, then uh, generally we use these container, the values which are there in the container settings to identify the relevant like action, step, the CR type, the next CR type. So we need to verify whether uh, so generally in unit testing we check each condition for the background step and for the uh, user defined steps. So guys, this is the presentation that we had for the understanding of the parallel workflows, how it is configured, and what are the different steps which are involved in this process. So thank you very much.